I'm going to show you how to create grass in Blender. First, we need to create the grass blades. To do that, find some grass blades you like and take some top-down images of them. Then in Blender, open a new VFX file, go to the Compositing tab, enable Use Nodes, and open one of the images. In the Color Management section, set the View Transform to Standard and also set your project resolution to the resolution of your image. Then open the Image Editor. In this dropdown, select the image, switch the mode to Mask, create a new mask, and cut out the grass. Then up here, add a mask node, select the mask in it, add a set alpha node and plug the mask into the alpha. By the way, if you want the grass setup I created in this tutorial, plus Tree Machine, as well as the results of my tutorials, then check out my Patreon in the description. But anyway, you'll want to cut out a few grass strands. I did 3, but more is always better. Then create a new file, add image, mesh plane, and add all your finished grass strands. Then with them imported, roughly cut them out again. And this is because if we were to leave them as planes, we would have to crank the transparency light bounces way up. Now with the grass strands cut out, you'll want to position them in a way where the origin point is at their very bottom. And with our grass strands done, we'll want to create some grass clumps. So to do that, move them to a new collection, add a plane, scale it to 0.2 meters, add a particle system here, set the render as to collection, select the grass collection, check object rotation, click advanced, check rotation, orientation axis global Z, increase the randomize phase to 2 and the randomize to 0.1, rotate the grass strands by 90 degrees on the X and Y axes. Then reduce the number of particles to 200 and check the size of the grass strands. For me, they should be about 28 centimeters high, so I'll increase the scale to 0.1. Then increase the scale randomness to 1. And finally, to cut down that repetitiveness even more, add a displacement modifier to the grass strands, create a new texture, set it to clouds, set the size to 0.5, set the coordinates to global and the direction to RGB to XYZ, as well as decreasing the strength to 0.1. Then select your grass strands, Ctrl L, copy modifiers, and finally duplicate the grass strands a few times. Then for more variation, we want to duplicate our grass clump a couple of times, changing the seed with every duplicate. And finally, we want to make all our grass clumps real, so go to the modifiers tab, click make instances real, and before we join all of them together, we have to make single user, select object and data, as well as for convert mesh, select object convert mesh. Then join all the strands together and do that for all the clumps. With that done, we can delete the planes we had the particle systems on and move our clumps to a new collection, grass clumps. Then apply their scale. Now with the grass clumps done, we want to dial in their material. So go into the shading tab, and since we have 3 different grass strands, we have 3 different materials that we'll have to tweak. So what I'll do is just create a node group and I'll copy it to all materials. Then I'll go into the node group and actually make the material. So I'll add an add shader node as well as a translucent node. Plug the translucent into the second socket of the add shader node and plug our base color into the translucent. This is too much translucency for my liking though, so I'll add a mixed shader node, leave it at 0.5 and plug the principled BSDF into the second socket. Then I'll plug the base color into a bump node's height socket as well, leave the distance at 0.001 and plug the result into the normal of the translucent as well as the principled BSDF. This is a good material, but we have to do 2 more things. First, we need to randomize the hue a little bit, and second, we need to tweak the hue and saturation until we have the exact grass look we want. So for the randomization, add a hue saturation value node as well as an object info node, plug the random output into the hue socket and reduce the factor to 0.2. Then if you want to add some patchiness to the grass as well, where you have some drier spots and some fresher spots, we want to add another hue saturation value node, plug the result of the first one into the color and view it. For this one, you'll want to tweak the hue until it looks like dried out grass. And now we can use a noise texture to mix in that drier color. Add a texture coordinate node, and in the object socket we have to select the object that will later instance the grass on. Then take the object coordinates, plug it into a noise texture, set the scale to 0.5, pass the factor through a color ramp and set the black handle to 0.2 and the white handle to 0.8. Then use the result of this to mix in the dry grass look. And now we can tweak the hue saturation value of the grass to match what we had in mind a little bit better. So add a hue saturation value node in front of all the randomization we did. And for me, I had to set the saturation to 2.5 and the value to 0.5. Now with the material done, we can move on to actually scattering the grass. So first, disable the grass clumps, select the object you want to distribute the grass on, go to the geometry nodes tab and create a new geometry nodes setup. Then add a distribute points on faces as well as an instance on points node and drag the grass clumps collection into the geometry nodes setup. Check separate children and reset children, as well as pick instance in the instance on points node and plug the instances into the instance socket. If your rotation is wrong, like mine, you'll have to select your grass clumps, rotate them on the x-axis by 90 degrees and apply their rotation. Then back in the geometry node setup, you'll want to add a join geometry node and join the original geometry back in. Now we can increase the density to 70 in my case, but how much grass you'll need depends on your grass type, the size of your clumps, as well as the type of look you're going for. Then plug the rotation into the rotation socket, and to randomize the rotation, add a rotate rotation node, switch it to local, add a random value node, set it to vector, and use these values. Then plug the vector into the rotate by socket. To randomize the scale of the grass, you have two options for two different looks. Either you can just add another random value node, change the seed, and plug that into the scale, tweaking the min and max to dial in the look you want. Or you can add a noise texture, set its scale to something like 0.4, but the exact scale is up to you, plugging the factor into the scale, and also adding a color ramp to tweak the look. So you can have a patchy look like this, tweak the scale, you can change the colors to change the minimum and maximum sizes. It's all up to you and the look you want. And with that done, we can go to the rendered mode and view our grass. If you see some black spots in the grass, that would be down to not having enough transparency bounces. So in that case, you'll have to go to the render tab, light paths, and increase the transparent light bounces. But yeah, now it's up to you to dial in the look you want, increasing the density, switching to the noise texture, tweaking the dry to fresh grass ratio in the material, and so on. But yeah, if this video helped at all, please check out this video next and subscribe.